If you had to draw all of Kim Jong-un's residences on a map, you would need at least 33 dots, and that is only the ones we know about. Because spy satellites can see buildings and parks, fences and sports fields, roads and rail ramps, but they cannot see what is happening underground. And it is precisely beneath the surface that the most important part of the Kim Empire is hidden, a labyrinth of tunnels, bunkers, and underground stations that turn every palace into a fortress. In a country where people go hungry in public and triumph in propaganda, the leaders' residences are more than luxury. They are an architectural expression of absolute power, paranoid fear, and dynastic megalomania. This is what the world of the Kim palaces really conceals. No residence says as much about the Kim dynasty as Ryongsong, officially known as Residence Number 55, unofficially called simply the Central Luxury Estate. It lies in the northeastern part of Pyongyang, about 12 kilometers from the famous Kim Il-sung Square, and covers an area of nearly 13 square kilometers, roughly the size of the center of a sizable European city. Built by a brigade of People's Army engineers and completed in 1983 under Kim Il-sung, it has served all three leaders of the dynasty in turn. Since Kim Jong-un took power in 2011, it has been his main headquarters. The complex is surrounded by an electric fence, minefields, and many security posts layered around the central buildings. The outer fence alone is visible in satellite images as a clear line cutting this enclave off from the rest of the district, as if a piece of the city had been cut out and covered with a dome. Inside Ryongsong, there is an underground war headquarters, a bunker protected by concrete walls with steel bars coated in a layer of lead in case of a nuclear attack. There is also an underground private railway station because Kim, like his father and grandfather before him, decidedly prefers traveling by train. The complex is linked by tunnels to Residence Number 26 and several other estates within the city, creating an underground communications network accessible only to the leader and his closest circle. Kim Jong-un's train officially bears the name Taeyang-ho, which, in translation, simply means sun. Informally, analysts and journalists call it the moving fortress, because that name much better captures its character. Kim uses the train as his preferred means of transport for both domestic and foreign trips, to China, Russia, and in February 2019, even to a summit with United States President Donald Trump in Hanoi, covering a route of thousands of kilometers through Chinese territory. His father, Kim Jong-il, did not fly on airplanes because he did not trust the aging fleet of Soviet aircraft. Kim Jong-un followed in his footsteps, though the reasons may be different. The train, made up of 90 armored luxury cars, has conference cars with long tables and television screens, work cabins with desks and maps, dining cars serving Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Russian, and French dishes, as well as a satellite communication system with a ground antenna connected to every car. During Kim Jong-il's journeys, stops were regularly made to replenish supplies of live lobsters and Bordeaux wines, brought in by special air deliveries from Paris. 28 of the 33 known Kim residences have their own railway sidings, which shows how deeply the train is built into the architecture of the leader's entire security system. If Ryongsong is the heart of the residence empire, then Wonsan is its lungs, the place where the dynasty breathes. The seaside resort complex in Wonsan on North Korea's east coast was where Kim Jong-un grew up. Defectors from elite circles described the Wonsan residence as so vast that the little Kims crossed it in electric carts. It would have been difficult to cover the entire grounds on foot. The complex includes luxury seaside villas for family members, separate guest houses, swimming pools, white sand beaches, a yacht hangar, a private airfield, and a stable. The bay on which the estate lies is naturally shielded from view from the sea, and the whole thing is surrounded by dense trees planted deliberately as a visual barrier. Analyses of satellite images taken after 2011 revealed that Kim Jong-un carried out extensive modernizations in Wonsan, rebuilding port infrastructure, enlarging the yacht hangar, and erecting new structures whose function cannot be clearly identified from the outside. Images from 2023 showed a new underground railway station near the Madzon estate in the Wonsan area, a facility 300 meters long and 25 meters wide, built beneath the surface with the precision characteristic of top-class military facilities. In the very center of Pyongyang, in the so-called government district, on a street surrounded by buildings of the Workers' Party Central Committee, lies the Changkwangsan complex. It was here that satellite images documented, in recent years, the construction of successive residences at a dizzying pace. An analysis carried out by North Korea Leadership Watch showed that 8 new villas have already been built on the site. Expert Michael Madden assessed that Kim deliberately multiplies the number of residences in order to make it harder for potential assassins to determine his current whereabouts. The inspiration is said to be none other than Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, who supposedly slept in a different estate every night, fearing assassins. In 2025, analysts from NK News documented the ongoing construction of 3 more luxury residences in the Kumusan complex, facilities of up to 13,000 square meters each. One of them, according to intelligence information, is being built with Vladimir Putin in mind as the main state guest. The sheer scale of these constructions, carried out at a dizzying pace and with extremely high priority, shows that Kim treats his residences as a key element of his survival strategy, not only in the military sense, but also in the political one. Directly beside the Ryongsong complex run at least 4 tunnels visible in satellite analysis, leading to and from Kim Jong-un's central office and the adjacent Villa No. 15. To 3 buildings erected in 2018 and 2019, underground garages accessible through separate entry tunnels were also added. This network, described by researchers from Access DPRK as a local underground command communications system, probably connects the most important government buildings to an underground command center somewhere beneath the very heart of the capital. One of the tunnels, a 2-lane asphalt road, dives beneath the bed of the Taedong River near Kangdong Palace and emerges on the other side after 1 kilometer, allowing Kim Jong-un to leave the complex without going above ground. Internal sources cited by Daily NK even describe the existence of tunnels connecting one of Kim Jong-un's villas directly to Jagang province on the border with China. Evacuation routes reaching hundreds of meters below the Earth's surface, dug by the 1st Military Engineers Brigade, which was unofficially called the Royal Brigade because of the special treatment it received from the leader. Kumsusan Palace, officially called the Palace of the Sun, plays a completely different role from the dynasty's other residences. It is not a place to live, but a place of worship. It is here that the embalmed body of Kim Il-sung lies, and after his death in 2011, Kim Jong-il joined him. Both lie in glass sarcophagi in separate halls, dressed in uniforms, with their hands placed along their torsos. Visits to Kumsusan Palace are a mandatory gesture of loyalty in North Korea. Soldiers, officials, foreign delegations, and school groups make pilgrimages here on specific calendar days. Entry requires passing through a special airlock and a dust removal strip, which is meant to preserve the remains for decades. Originally, the building was Kim Il-sung's official residence and workplace. It was converted into a mausoleum after his death in 1994 at a cost estimated at hundreds of millions of dollars. At every approach to the sarcophagi, statues, flags, and exhibits documenting the leader's achievements are arranged along the walls, because even among the dead, propaganda does not fall silent. The complex in Kangdong district, on the outskirts of Pyongyang, is one of the less publicized yet richly equipped dynasty estates. According to information gathered by journalists and researchers specializing in North Korea, it contains a private bowling alley, a shooting range, a stable for racehorses and breeding horses, a full-size football pitch, and a racetrack. It is here, in Kangdong's private facilities, that Kim Jong-un enjoys entertainments that are absolutely inaccessible to more than 90% of his citizens. The stable is especially important because riding horses are one of the most prominent elements of the leader's image. Kim regularly appears in official photographs on horseback in a mountain landscape, in shots composed to evoke the medieval iconography of a ruler. In February 2026, Russia delivered another shipment of purebred horses from Tatarstan to North Korea, intended exclusively for the highest circles of power. Paekwawan Palace serves as a luxury residence for foreign state guests and VIPs. It is the only palace complex that North Korea decided to show on camera. In June 2018, a Russian film crew accompanying Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov during his visit to Pyongyang became the first Western crew to record the interiors of this building. The footage revealed gigantic halls with marble floors, ceilings decorated with gilded ornaments, colonnaded corridors lit by crystal chandeliers, richly upholstered furniture, and oil paintings depicting North Korean mountain landscapes. Diplomats describe Pehuawon as a building consciously tailored to Western guests, with ample furnishings meant to impress with opulence, while revealing nothing that might betray the specifics of everyday life inside the country. It is a peaceful studio of architectural propaganda, an interior design so that a diplomat leaving talks with Kim Jong-un takes away the memory of a palace, not of a state with a starving people. In summer, Kim Jong-un regularly stays in Wonsan, and outside the season, he moves between different complexes in Pyongyang. Yet the difficulty is that no one outside ever knows exactly where he is at any given moment. This is not accidental, but a precisely managed strategy. In 2020, when Kim disappeared from public view for 41 days, media outlets around the world speculated about his death or a serious illness. Meanwhile, according to later satellite analyses, his private train was calmly moving along the east coast to the station at the Wonsan complex. Kim was present. He had simply stopped telling the world where he was. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and do not miss the next episode.